Hey everyone! I've been in Taipei now for a couple of days, so I wanted to make today's video to tell you all about my first impressions of this amazing city. I honestly didn't know what to expect when coming here. I didn't know a lot about the place. So here are some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I think about Taipei so far. The people here are so friendly. They're much nicer and much friendlier than I expected. It's amazing because in some places there's English, like on menus and things like that. I don't speak really any Taiwanese, but people here are so nice in helping you understand what to do, what to order, where to go, things like that. And then just generally people you meet on the street are really nice, smiling, friendly, and that's awesome. Like, it's been a great first impression. It feels like a really welcoming place to be. There are convenience stores everywhere, which is awesome. Going to places like Japan or Korea, lots of convenience stores, but apparently there's more convenience stores per capita here in Taipei than anywhere else in the world. And you feel it, like every block you walk past, there's at least one convenience store, sometimes 2 or 3 near each other, which is amazing. It makes life so easy, and lots of treats and drinks and exciting stuff there. Also, you can buy like lunch there or dinner there. They've often got like dine-in areas. They'll microwave your food for you. Like, it's really part of the culture that you can go and get food at a convenience store. You can even do things like posting stuff, paying bills, buying concert tickets. Like, they're really a one-stop shop here, which is awesome. Love a good convenience store. So in Australia, where I'm from, we are well and truly in the bubble tea phase. Everyone loves a bubble tea there. And I knew that Taiwan was the home of bubble tea, but I was not prepared for just how many bubble tea shops there are. There are streets with just rows of them, and pretty much every street I've seen has like multiple bubble tea shops in them. People are always holding them, always drinking them, and they even sell little bubble tea holders that you can buy with straps so you can carry them around, and it's super convenient. So it's amazing going to try all of the places. I love bubble tea, but yeah, the amount of bubble tea places was honestly surprised me. I didn't know so many could exist, and they're all really busy, so demand is obviously very high. It's really interesting too that the way that the lids are for bubble tea, how they've got the film on top that you pop the straw through, are obviously part of the bubble tea cups here. But everywhere you go, when you get drinks, it's the same. Like if you get a coffee to take away or a juice to take away, even like places where you go to a market and you just get like some orange juice or something, they've all got those little machines where they put the film over the top. So it's popping a straw through the thing. I didn't expect it to be so widespread, that sort of format of like lid, and it's a little thing, but hey, it's kind of cool. I was a little bit confused when I got here, and when you'd buy something at a shop, they're very adamant to give you the receipt, or sometimes in like self-serve screens, you could pick to donate, and I had no idea what was going on. Turns out you get these, and these are all of my 7-Eleven and Family Mart receipts, and it's like a lottery they do every 2 months, and it started in the 50s, and it was actually to convince stores to pay tax and to like ring up transactions in a legitimate way. So you get these receipts, and every 2 months there's these lotteries, and you can win like a bunch of money, and they televise it, and it's a big thing. So if you're not going to be here, you can donate these receipts in boxes that they have in a lot of convenience stores. So if there is winnings, then they donate those winnings. Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea, and it makes sense as to why there's such a big culture of getting receipts here, which I just did not understand. It took me a while to work this one out too. But if you want to have like a late lunch or an early dinner, often places are closed because a lot of restaurants and cafes open up in like 2 shifts. There's like a lunch shift and a dinner shift. So a lot of them are closed between like 2 or 3 and say 5 or 6, which is cool. I guess it gives staff like a break and to get some food and dinner and things like that. But yeah, it's interesting that a lot of food places aren't just open, you know, from the morning to the evening. There is like shifts that you've got to kind of work around and make sure that you go to places when they're open, because you may only have a window of a couple of hours. Something I've noticed and I really like about this city is just how green it is. Within the city itself and like within the streets, there's a lot of trees around, like either planted on the side, or a lot of like apartments have like greenery growing off their balconies. Also, there's a lot of parks scattered around, and outside of the city, it's kind of surrounded by mountains. And so everywhere you kind of go, you can see some sort of greenery in the distance, and it's really lovely because it's this big, crazy, bright city, but it really doesn't feel like claustrophobic or like too grey. It really feels green and bright and amazing, and I love that about it. But I didn't necessarily expect that from a massive city like Taipei. And I guess linked to that, I just didn't expect for the entirety of Taiwan to be so mountainous. Like when you see a map from the top, a lot of the middle of it is mountains, and that means that Taipei feels like it's like nestled in all these mountains, which is just beautiful, like in terms of, you know, the panoramic views of the city you can get when you walk up the mountains. And that just makes this place perfect for anyone who likes nature or likes hikes and being in the outdoors. You know, it's a big metropolis, which is amazing. And then you go, say, 10 or 15 minutes away from the city and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and there's mountains and hikes and places to explore and walking trails. Like, I just love that about Taiwan. I didn't expect for this city to be so built for riding a bike around. It's incredible. There's these U-bike stations everywhere, and there's bike paths on most of the roads I've walked down. The pedestrian crossings have a biking section, and most streets have dedicated place for riding a bike. In a big city, it's amazing because you can be outside, be active and ride a bike. Also alleviates the pressure on the traffic. It's really cool. I love it. Although, unfortunately, you do need a Taiwanese number to hire a U-bike. I've got a data-only plan, so I haven't been able to do it. But yeah, absolutely built for cycling. When walking around my first night markets and street markets, I noticed a really bad smell. Turns out it's Stinky Tofu, which is a really popular food here for night markets, and as a snack it's consumed. Granted, haven't tried it yet. I think I will work my way up to trying it, but it is quite a pungent and acquired aroma. Reading about Taipei before I came, I kind of knew it was a big city. And being here, I've noticed while it is a massive city, it's still really easy to commute around it, which is so handy. It's big enough to feel massive, and there's a lot to do here. There's a lot of different districts. There's so much to take in and see. But at the same time, it's only a 35-minute train to go from one end of the city to the other, or from the top to the bottom, which is really cool. So yeah, in terms of the size, I guess my first impression of that is I feel like it's the perfect sized city. It's approachable. It's possible to explore all of it, but it's big enough and it's dense enough that there's more than enough to do here without getting bored. I feel like you could spend months, if not years here, and still not get bored. I guess tied to that is just how diverse the city is. There's so many different areas, different districts, and different vibes all so close together. There's these back streets you can walk around that feel really old and traditional, and you might stumble across an old night market or some mum and dad kind of stores, and it feels very old Taiwanese. And then you can walk 15-20 minutes and you're at Taipei 101, and there's these massive mega malls and department stores and the amount of shopping and bright lights, and you feel like you're in Times Square. And then you go over to another part of the city and you feel like you're in Harajuku, and it's cute and it's quirky and it's weird and it's interesting and amazing. Honestly, there's something for everybody here, even just within the, say, 40-minute train ride distance. No matter what you're looking for, it feels like Taipei has it. And that's one of my biggest first impressions here. It's just it's so diverse and so fascinating and extraordinary of a city, that it's a blend of so much that I've loved about other cities all in one place. I just didn't expect how much of a Japanese influence I would feel in Taiwan. Again, not really knowing much about the place, I didn't realize that Taiwan was under Japanese rule from the late 1800s until as recently as 1945. So it makes sense that there is absolutely that influence here. I've noticed it in food. There's so many Japanese restaurants, so much Japanese food around, which is amazing. As well, some of the streets you walk down here, you feel like you're in an old Japanese village, the architecture, the old buildings, the apartments above shops, and then the kind of more new school Japanese influence, where you feel like you're in Tokyo or Harajuku, where there's you walk past a maid cafe and a bunch of computer game stores and little Sanrio character shops and things, and there's cute little characters on lots of different stuff here that you see. It's really interesting that it does feel still quite Japanese. I just did not expect that in coming here. I didn't expect the public transport here to be so good. It's not only really efficient, it's super cheap. A trip for 5 stations away will only cost $20 or something. It's cheap as. There's also a system here where you get an easy card that you can buy at these machines at every station, and when you use them you get a cashback rebate system. So if you do between 11 and 20 trips, you get 10% back at the end of the month, just put on the card. And if you do over 50 trips, you get 30% of your total trip value back on your card. So they really encourage you to use the public transport system. That's amazing. And the train stations are located so well and so easily color coordinated. Everywhere you need to go, there seems to be a station, and it's so easy to change trains, to navigate where to go, even not speaking the language and only speaking English. I found it so easy and such a breeze. So I really rate the public transport system. It's also crazy that when you're waiting for a train, they've got screens and it's to the second, like it will count down when your train is coming to the second, which is so crazy efficient. I love it. I've also noticed just how clean the city feels being here for a few days. Like there's a lot of bins around, which is amazing. People actually like throw their rubbish out. But as well, a lot of people are out in the mornings and in the afternoons, like sweeping the areas, like the streets outside their shops or their houses. Like people seem to care about the area and their city and making it feel clean and nice, which I really like, but not always the case in a big city. So I've definitely noticed it's cleaner than a lot of other big cities that I've been. It's really handy when you go to restaurants and cafes here. Generally you order off like a piece of paper, or the menu has little circles that you tick on it, which is really interesting. It makes it really handy because you get to sit down and like translate stuff that's not in English, and it's very clear what you're ordering. So I like that ordering system, that sort of process of like sitting down, marking it out and giving it back. It's actually sunny today, which is crazy. But the rest of the time I've been here, it's been really overcast and cloudy. When I've read about it, apparently it's cloudy and overcast here like 70% of the time, which is crazy. Something to do with air cycles and stuff. So I've noticed it is quite grey and gloomy a lot of the time. But it's still such a bright and colourful city. Like a lot of the signs for shops are really bright and colourful. Obviously there's all the greenery around and things like that. So I love that even if it's grey and overcast, it's still like a bright and exciting place to be. So they're my first impressions of Taipei. I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video and found it interesting. Let me know below if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. I always find it really interesting to hear what you guys think too. If you've liked this video, if you could like it below. Subscribing to my channel means the world to me too and really helps me to make more content. Let me know what more you want to see of me in Taipei. I'm still here for another month, so I love making content that you guys want to watch as well. Otherwise, I will see you on my next video. Bye!